Look, I get it. This part of the exam can seem kind of tough, but honestly, with the right strategy, you're going to walk in there feeling totally confident and ready to go. Our goal here isn't just about passing. Nope, it's about you truly getting it and excelling. And that's exactly what these tools are for. So let's start filling that toolbox with some seriously powerful skills. By the time we're done, you'll have exactly what you need to handle any text they throw your way. So, you ready to check out the first tool?
Okay, tool number 1. We're calling this one the identifier. Its job is super simple, but also absolutely crucial. It's all about helping you figure out, like, instantly, what kind of text you're even looking at. And trust me, that gives you a huge head start.
So check it out. The very first thing you do, just look at the text's shape. What does it look like? Is it a web article? Maybe an email with a clear from and to line? Or is it more of a formal letter, with the date and address all laid out? Just recognizing the format, that's your first big clue. It tells you so much about its purpose and even its tone.
And then you've got to figure out the why behind the text. What's its job? Is it a descriptive text, painting a picture of something like the Eiffel Tower? Or is it narrative, telling you a story about something that happened in the past? Or maybe it's expository, just laying out the facts, like a biography of Emir Abdülkadir. Once you spot that pattern, you know exactly what kind of information to start looking for. That's a real game changer.
All right, so you've identified the text. What's next? Well, now you got to tackle the questions. This brings us to tool number 2. We're calling it the interrogator. This tool is all about facing those questions head on, feeling confident, and knowing exactly how to craft the perfect answer. Let's break it down.
All right, welcome. In this explainer, we're going to build the ultimate toolkit for understanding pretty much any text you come across. We're going to learn how to become an expert at pulling out the most important information super quickly and effectively. So let's dive right in. You know that feeling, right? You open a book or an article online and you're just hit with a wall of text. It can be totally overwhelming, and it's tough to even know where to start looking for the important stuff. It's a super common feeling, but don't worry, we're about to fix that. Because here's the thing, the secret isn't about reading harder, it's about reading smarter. I want you to think of yourself as a detective. You're not just reading words anymore, you're on a case and you're hunting for clues. And of course, every great detective needs a toolkit. So, here's our game plan. We'll start by building your very own detective toolkit. Then, we'll see how to use it for decoding famous figures, mapping landmarks, charting journeys, and even uncovering personal stories. And at the end, we'll bring it all together so you can put your new skills to use. Okay, first up, let's talk about people. Whenever you're reading about a famous person, maybe someone from history or a character in a book, it's like you're opening up their personal case file. Your job is to pull out the key facts that tell their story. So what are you looking for? These are the absolute essentials. You start with the basics, right? Full name, when and where they were born. Then you dig a little deeper. What was their job? What did they do that made them famous? What were their biggest achievements? And finally, if it's there, their date of death. These 5 points, they're the backbone of any biography. Next, let's switch gears from people to places. When you're reading about a famous landmark, your role changes a little bit. You go from being a detective to being an explorer, and you're basically creating a blueprint for some amazing structure. And every great explorer needs a checklist, right? Here's yours. First, what's it called, and where in the world is it? Then you look for the timeline. When was it built? Who was the genius behind it? After that, get into the nitty-gritty. What's it made of, and what about its size? How tall is it? How big is it? Answering these questions gives you this incredible complete picture. All right, we've done people, we've done places. Now let's talk about things that are on the move. When a text is describing a trip, a voyage, or an adventure, you got to put on a new hat. Now you're the navigator, and your job is to chart the course from the beginning to the end. You know, pretty much any journey, big or small, can be broken down into 4 key parts. First, where did it start? That's the departure point. Second, where was it going? That's the destination. Third, how did they get there? Was it by car, by boat, by spaceship? And finally, the fun part. What happened on the way? Those activities are usually where the best parts of the story are hiding. Okay, now we're going to go a little deeper. We're moving from the outside world of places and journeys to the inside world of a character. This is all about getting to know who they really are, their personality, their memories, their dreams, all of it. Sometimes it's the little details that tell you the most about a person. Take a look at this. A childhood dream, that's a wish from their past, right? But an ambition, that's a goal for their future. Just knowing that little difference helps you understand what drives them. Same thing with likes and dislikes. Knowing what someone enjoys is great, but knowing what they try to avoid, that tells you a whole other side of the story. And to really round out that character profile, here are a few more clues to hunt for. What are they really like? Are they brave, funny, a little bit shy? What do they do for fun? What are their hobbies? Are there any key memories that shaped them? And finally, who and what do they care about the most? Okay, we have collected all of our tools. We've looked at people, places, journeys, and personal stories. Now, let's put it all together into one complete master detective toolkit that you can use for pretty much anything. And here it is, the master key. This simple table is your secret weapon. When you start reading, just ask yourself one simple question. Am I reading about a person, a place, a journey, or a personal story? Once you pick a category, boom, you know exactly which clues to start hunting for. It's that easy. And you know what the best part is? This toolkit isn't just for one class or one type of reading. Doesn't matter if you're studying a famous scientist, a giant pyramid, or a character in a fantasy novel. This method works for everything. It basically turns reading from something you just do into an active investigation.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to build your reading toolkit together, piece by piece. We'll start with those W questions, then we'll master the how family, absolutely nail the yes-no rule, and finally we'll learn how to tackle those tricky true, false, or not mentioned questions. Let's get to it.
Okay, tool number 1 is what I call the what compass. Seriously, think of questions like who, where, when, and why as a compass that points you directly to the exact piece of information you need. It's all about navigating the text, so no more random guessing.
Let's start simple. When a question kicks off with who, you are on a hunt for a person, a name. Simple as that. If it's where, you're looking for a place. You know, a city, a country, a building. And a little hint, look for small words like in, at, or on to help you find it.
It's the same deal for when. That's your time detector. It helps you pinpoint a specific date, a year, or a time of day. But why questions? Oh, these are a gift. Seriously, the answer is almost always waiting for you right after the word because or to. It's like a secret clue hiding in plain sight.
And to finish up our compass, we've got these three. What asks about a thing, an object, or an idea. Which asks you to make a choice between different options that are right there in the text. And whose? That's all about who owns something. Just look for a name with an apostrophe S. See? Easy, right?
Time for our second tool, the how measuring tape. This whole family of questions is about one thing, precision. They want exact numbers, specific amounts, distances, and durations. This is where you get to pull out specific measurements from the text. So how long is asking about time passing, like for 3 days or since 2010. But how far is all about physical distance, and you'll usually see it marked with kilometers or km. So one measures time, the other measures space. Got it?
Let's test this out. If a text asks you, how high is the Eiffel Tower? You know right away you're looking for a number, a very specific number that represents its height. So what do you think that answer is going to look like? You got it, 330 meters. Whenever you see how high or how tall, the answer is going to be a number, usually followed by an M for meters. The text gives you exactly what you need.
Okay, here's another one that sometimes trips people up. How much does the ticket cost? Again, you're on the hunt for a very specific type of number in the text. And there it is, 500 Algerian dinars. How much almost always points to a price. So all you have to do is scan the text for a number that's attached to a currency symbol, whether it's DZD, dollars, or pounds. And here's the rest of the crew. How many looks for a number of things you can count. How all by itself is looking for the way something was done, like by train or quickly. And how often is about frequency, words like always, sometimes, or every week. Each one is a precision tool for a very specific job.
All right, next up, our third tool, and I think this is the simplest one yet. It's the yes/no switch. If a question doesn't start with WH or how, it's what we call a closed question. The answer is basically just a simple on or off switch to confirm information.
And listen, there is a golden rule for these questions, a super simple 3-step formula. 1, read the text, figure out if the info is correct, and then start with yes or no. 2, pop in the right pronoun like he, she, or they. And 3, just reuse the little helping verb that started the question. That's it.
And check this out. This rule works every single time. If the question starts with did, your answer ends with did. If it starts with will, it ends with will. Is ends with is, you just follow the pattern. It is literally a foolproof system.
And now for our final and, I'd say, most powerful tool, the scanner. This is for those true, false, or not mentioned questions. I want you to think of it as a high-tech fact checker that helps you verify information with absolute precision. This whole strategy breaks down into 3 easy steps. First, underline the keywords in the statement. Names, dates, important things. Second, scan the text looking only for those words. And this is key. Don't reread the whole thing. Third, once you find the words, you just carefully compare the meaning. That's how you decide.
So when do you pick true? Well, when the meaning in the statement is a perfect match for the text. And here's a pro tip. Sometimes the text will use a synonym. So if the text says someone is well known and the statement says they're famous, ding, 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 the meaning is the same. The answer is true.
And you choose false when there's a direct contradiction. This is usually the easiest one to spot. The text says he was born in 1564, but the statement says 1990. Those 2 things can't both be true, right? So that's a clear, obvious false.
Okay, but here is the big one, the not mentioned trap. This is where most people get tripped up. The statement might be a fact that's true in real life, like Shakespeare did have 3 children. But, and this is so important, if the text you were given doesn't say it, then the answer has to be not mentioned. Period. You are only being tested on the information right in front of you.
Super powerful tool, the pronoun. Pronouns are amazing. They're like little shortcuts that stop us from repeating ourselves all the time. So instead of saying something clunky like, John went to the store and John bought milk, we can just say, John went to the store and he bought milk. See? So much smoother. But here's the catch. You have to use the right pronoun for the job. Is the person the one doing the action, the star of the sentence? Then you need a subject pronoun, like he or they. Is the action happening to them? Well, that's when you grab an object pronoun, like him or them. And if they own something, you'll need a possessive pronoun like his or theirs. This chart right here, it's your secret weapon for getting this right every single time.
Now for another awesome tool, relative pronouns. These little words, who, which, and that, are kind of like linguistic glue. They let you stick extra important details onto a person or a thing. So instead of a simple sentence like, the student passed the exam, you can add a crucial detail. The student who studied hard passed the exam.
And we've made it to the final tool in our toolbox. Now, this one's a little different. It's not really a technique. It's more like pure knowledge. We're talking about the essential vocabulary, the words that pop up over and over again in exam texts, especially those about history, society, and people's lives. So the BEAM exam tends to circle back to a few key themes: history and landmarks, personal stories and memories, and citizenship. By getting comfortable with these words right here, you're putting yourself way ahead of the game. You'll be able to read those passages faster and with way more confidence.
There you have it. Your toolbox is complete. It's fully loaded. You've got the identifier to decode the text, the interrogator to master the questions, and now your essential vocabulary list. You are so ready for this.
So what's left? Only one thing: putting these awesome tools to work. Don't just sit on this, I mean it. Go find an English text right now, an old exam, an article, anything, and just try them out. So my question for you is, what's the very first text you're going to analyze with your new toolkit? The power is all yours now. You've got this. Good luck.